Good morning. Share the screen real quick.
Don't play the game. The game of business is played with accountants, attorneys, bankers. Hate to say it, politicians. You gotta know the game.
I don't want to hustle. I want to prosper. I don't want to grind. I want to create a machine that monetizes. I'm not shameful of money. I want money. I want a lot of money. I want to give money away. I want to raise a lot of money. You can't do that if you're broke.
Most of the people watching this thing should either not be in business if they've got one, or close the f*** down if they got one. Because you got in business for all the wrong reasons, and you don't have the balls to close them down because of what other people are going to say. You have no idea how limitless it is when you're not afraid of what other people think or say. You have no idea. There's not two people watching this thing that even has a concept of what it is to act as if you have no limits to your abilities. Zero. But you have to do something every day that scares you. And that's a takeoff from Helen Keller, who said, or not said, she was deaf, dumb, everything. She couldn't do anything. And she said every day she did something to scare herself. Well, if you and I had all those afflictions, just getting out of bed would be scary enough. And so I decided that one of the differentiations between the people that got the most out of the week-long seminar and the year-long free mentoring from me is people that really press themselves hard. So I translated that into they've got to do something and list it, what they did to scare themselves every single day.
Is that the essence of really what you do, is getting people to take more risk, to get out of their comfort zones, and then the wealth comes later?
It's not just out of their comfort zones. It's to change your reality. Okay, your reality is different than my reality, and your followers' realities are all different. But it's to change your reality and to make yourself accountable. That's not just getting outside your comfort zone, making yourself accountable. Okay, not just accountable, not accountable to somebody else, accountable to you, me, yourself, because that's the ultimately that's the only person you should be accountable to, is yourself. And we grow up, in my judgment, wrongly, that that we don't hold ourselves accountable enough. We just don't. We've learned to come up with reasons why we can't do this, reasons why it's okay not to do this, reasons why you didn't follow up on time, reasons why I told the guy to get back to him by Wednesday, it's now Friday, oh, it's the weekend, I'll now get back to him on Monday. And life has gotten simpler. Now, with the internet and with email and the things where the communication is almost instant, you'd think it should be easier, but it's not. I use the analogy, 25, 30 years ago, you go in to buy a $100 million company, your due diligence would be 3, 4, 5 weeks, and it'd take you 3, 4, 5 weeks to close the deal. Okay, a month and a half, 6 to 8 weeks. With the internet, it should take less time because the information is instantaneous. It takes us twice as long to close a deal now. Twice as long. There's no reason for that. Things haven't gotten twice as complicated, but somebody has to put their name on the line. Somebody wants to push off the accountability. Somebody would rather have Brian sign off on it, so I go home early on a Thursday, knowing you're going to come in early on a Monday, and your signature will be on the document instead of mine, because I don't want to be accountable. And so the kids today have this need. It's like this thirst for guidance. And the kids do better in the year-long mentor program than the older kids. So the kids in their teens and 20s do better than the guys in their 40s and 50s. That's because the guys in their 40s and 50s got a lot of baggage.
Bad habits.
And it's tough to get rid of them. And the motivation gets you started. Good habits keep you going. Piss poor habits. And I've had these same habits for about 50 years now. Okay, about 50 years. And I don't even think about it. I mean, it's just like brushing my teeth, taking a shower. I just do it. And one of the other interviews that I did with you, I said, when I do feel wimpish, which isn't too often, I just say, come on. And I just go out and do it. And I do that about my entire life. Everything about it. And I know that if I hadn't built up these habits 20, 30 years ago, at age 70, I certainly wouldn't be doing this. I don't fail very often. I do fail.
You're pretty open about all the failures.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of them.
Right.
That's what's made me who I am.
You said failure is just testing.
Correct. It's just testing. And I don't know, and I'm quick to pull the trigger two ways. I'm quick to pull the trigger and trying something, and I'm quick to pull the trigger and closing something. Just turn the key.
What does that mean, turn the key?
Turn the key means close the fucking business down. Most of the people watching this thing should either not be in business if they've got one, or close the fucker down if they got one. Because you got in business for all the wrong reasons, and you don't have the balls to close them down because of what other people are going to say. You have no idea how limitless it is when you're not afraid of what other people think or say. You have no idea. There's not two people watching this thing that even has a concept of what it is to act as if you have no limits to your abilities. Zero. Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Now they think they have self-worth. They think because they made a few bucks. But in actuality, and when they measure it against the other 8, 10, 12 people sitting around the table, they realize, or they start to question, hell, maybe I was just lucky. Now, all of us, when you're only a one-trick guy or gal, think, was I lucky? Now, I've done it so many times, I know I wasn't lucky. I might have been lucky the first time, but I haven't been lucky the 15, 20, 40, 50, I know that.
Okay.
But maybe I was lucky the first time. But my life changed when I was pretty much a haphazard kid, got in a lot of trouble, got arrested 4 or 5 times, thrown in jail, and this was with my dad as a cop. But then I volunteered for the draft in 1966 at the height of the Vietnam War, and I went to OCS, and that changed my life because it was the really first real high performance thing that I could measure myself against with other people. 2/3 of all Fortune 500 CEOs have one thing in common: military background.
Really?
2/3 of those 2/3 have something else: martial arts. What do you learn in martial arts, Brian? Discipline, focus. A lot of people don't believe they deserve to be there. I convince them, and we have these drills, why you belong there. A lot of people that come there, with money, that have made money, think they made it by accident.
Right.
I just had one of my superstars who's made $100 million tell me in the last week, I'm not sure I'm going to have another lucky accident. And I said, you did it. I mean, you tried a lot of things. I believe Thomas Edison, I wouldn't have done it 10,000 times.
Okay.
I would have hired an engineer from MIT to do it. But I mean, I've tried a lot of things. Nobody's failed at more things than I have. And the first 100 million are successes, but I could write a book about failures that'd be, because I've tried a lot of different things. Because failure is just testing. And one of the reasons I've been so successful in generating this equity and value in my kids, and I call you all kids, is because I convince them that making a mistake is okay. Your parents probably told you, you can be anything you want. But you can't. That's horseshit. You can't. If it's all juxtaposed. But what you tell them is that you can do anything you want that you have passion for. Because that eliminates most of the crap. Because most people don't follow their dream. Like they say in The Sound of Music, you can't have a dream come true unless you have a dream. Now, I still dream. I dream in Technicolor. I say my affirmations and goals every single night. It's bloody hard to be a high performance person.
What is your methodology on leadership?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to build wealth. It's hard to wake up every morning. It's hard to grind. It's hard to see the future and not think about, the day to day. It's hard to keep pushing yourself when other people aren't. It's hard to keep going when you don't have anybody in your circle. But guess what? Like Dan Pena just said, who's one of the most real, millionaires. They call him the billionaire coach. He's coached over $50 billion worth of net worth individuals, right, to certain levels and to certain successes. And it's true that we can do not anything, but we can do what we want to with passion. If we apply ourselves, if we work hard, if we push ourselves, right? If we put ourselves in the right environments, if we put ourselves in the right room. And I appreciate each and every one of you for being in this room this morning. Good morning, good morning. I see you, Heat Pumps in the building. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Luz. How are you doing? Good morning, Felicia. How are you doing? Great seeing you guys, man. If you guys are in the building this morning, I see a few people in the chat. Just drop a good morning, drop an emoji for me. I just want to see who all's here. I just want to see who all we got in the building, man. I'm just super excited, man. First call on YouTube Live. I love when I'm actually on YouTube Live. I can't do it like every time, but I love to kind of show my face, and I wish you guys could show your faces as well. But it's always a great time when you guys are here. And, this month we've been having wealthy conversations. We've been talking about ways to build wealth. We've been talking about the mindset that millionaires and billionaires have. We're talking about the things that people are doing in order to get to the position that they're in. And for each and every one of us, we might not be where we want to be just yet, but we know that we're working to get there. We know that we're on a long journey. But guess what? It's the incremental steps along the way that's going to keep us getting better. Oh, I see you guys in the chat. What's up, Jesse? What's up, Duff? Good morning. What's up, Benny? Good morning. Man, I'm super excited. And because we're about to start the Psychology of Money on Monday. So if you haven't copped that book just yet, go on Amazon. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Hyperon. Good morning, Wealth Talk Sams. Good morning. Right? If you haven't copped that book yet, grab that book, The Psychology of Money. We're starting it on Monday, right? This weekend, we're going to read the first 1 and 2 chapters. And this is going to be one of the best books that we can start off the new year with, because we're not only developing our mindset this year, we're not only developing our spirit this year, we are taking a holistic approach to personal development, growth, and getting to that next level. And I'm trying to take it from A to Z. I don't have all the answers. I don't have it all figured out. But what I do know is that there are people out there who do have the answers. There are people out there who have it figured out. There are people out there who've done the research, who've done the work, who have the experience. And we're just going to lean into those individuals. We're just going to take some fruit off of their tree. We're just going to try to get in the scripture it says just touch the hem of his garment, right? She just knew, like, if she just got a little bit close, if she just got in the right proximity, if she just got in the right environment, if she just got in the right room, then she would be able to be healed. And that's our goal. Is that we are going to just get in the right spaces this year. We're just going to get in the right mind frame this year. We're going to have the right energy this year for us to be able to do the things that we want to do. Like Moyo said, so this way we can also get to that bag today. I'm super excited that you guys are here. So this week, I have been talking about, Felicia said she's on chapter 10. She said she well ahead of the game. I love it, Felicia. I love it. So that means when we talk about the book, I'm expecting you to give us some insights as well. And you guys know every Friday I like to do a few wins. So if anybody has a few wins to share, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text this link right here in the chat. And you can feel free to copy and paste that and send a request, and I could bring you up and you can share a win or so. You don't have to have your camera on. It could be black. It doesn't matter, right? I'm going to share one win, and it's not a personal win, but it's a win of one of my boys that I've been working with. And like, it's an unofficial, kind of mentorship. He mentors me. I mentor him. A few years ago, we both went to college together, and he was graduating from school, and he had been working at this store for several years. He worked at a Sherwin Williams, right? And, he got a degree. He was working there just to pay his way through school, additional income, while you're in school, just make some extra bread, right? But then he transitioned post-university into now a full-time career at the position, at the job. So I just asked him, because I knew his degree wasn't in retail, it wasn't in paint, it wasn't in sales. So I was just like, is this something that you see yourself doing long-term, or is this something that you're going to do just now, for right now, for today, tomorrow? And he was like, nah, man, I think I'm just going to stay here for a few years and see what I can do, to work my way up the ranks, but also to figure out my next life move, which some of us always do that, right? Like we work a job right now, we're in a position right now because we know it's going to help us transition to what we're trying to get to, right? But so I told him, I said, bro, there's no problem with that, right? Nobody, I don't think when we were younger, when we decided what we were going to do for a career, it's not, hey, I'm going to work at a retail store, I'm going to be a manager, I'm going to be the head of this. Like, that's typically not a goal that people just have at the forefront of their mind, unless it's like, I want to work at, like, I don't know, Macy's or some super popular store. I don't know, right? So I told him, I said, bro, and if you're showing up every day, then take advantage of this opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity to apply yourself. Take advantage of the opportunity to know everything about the marketplace that you're in. Take advantage of the opportunity that paint, while it might seem boring, while nobody likes to see paint dry, you know, that iteration there, guess what you can do? You can figure out more about paint, so this way you can consult others on that. You can start a side paint business. You can learn all the ins and outs, getting good with contractors, with real estate agents, because those are the people who are going to be buying these paints from you, and now you have the ability to get into real estate. Like, use this opportunity that you're in right now to pivot and help you get to that next level that you're trying to actually get to. And over the years, he and I have just been talking and helping each other, working on things. And I'm super excited because this past week, they do their annual conference at Sherwin-Williams, and he became the presidential award winner, which is given to the top managers and to the top people who generate the most income for their stores in their region. And the beautiful thing about it is this guy, over the last few years, I saw him apply himself. I saw him studying these paints. I saw him making sales calls, and he's not the most vocal person in the world. Like, he's more introverted than he is extroverted. Making sales calls, going out there in the field, trying to help other people, trying to help contractors, trying to help builders, trying to help schools, industrial. He was doing it all. And he has a small store in Cedartown, Georgia, which is in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's literally country. Like, literally small area. Right? And he was able to win the presidential award. I think he said, let me see if I can find the message real quick. Give me 1 second, right? He basically, hold on. Give me one second. Okay. He was one of the top managers in the South Division for 2022, right? His store exceeded 10% above his sales budget, 25% above the 2021 previous year total sales when he wasn't the manager. So he became the manager and took over the store at 27, 28 years old and increased the sales by 25. And he controlled expenses 50% better than the previous year. Listen, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter the position that you're holding. I saw you lose. Call in one more time. I got you. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what position you're in. It doesn't matter the size of the business or the size of the environment. You can make it work for you. You can apply yourself. You can go harder. And I was so excited to hear that he got that award. And he showed me the video of him walking down the red carpet with everybody in the entire corporation, thousands of people, with his name, clapping, celebrating his achievements, celebrating his accomplishment. And that is what we are trying to do every single day. And that's my win for the week, because I saw my boy go through that process. I saw him at a point in his life where he was trying to figure it out, where he was in a black hole for a second, where he didn't know what was next, where things were coming from. And guess what? He decided that he was not going to let his circumstance define him and the circumstance and let it push him to where he was trying to get to. And that's the same thing that each and every one of us can do, no matter where we are, no matter what position we're in. What's up, Luz? I see you up here, my girl. I'm about to add you real quick. Good morning. Ooh, are we still here? Are we still on? Are you with me, Luz?
Can you hear me?
Yep. You had me muted there for a second. Good morning. What's up, my girl?
Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
I wanted to share a really big win for me. For the last 2 months, no, I would say like 5 months, I've been trying to get back into the finance world. Right after I graduated college, I worked in wealth management, and for whatever reason, I moved towards healthcare. And I decided, you know what, I want to get back into it. I miss working in finance. And I've been, part of First Call for a while now. And I've been using all the things that we've been learning in our books, especially, I think, last 2 weeks, Noble, you were talking about, making an offer. And I've been really honing in that skill. So I've been applying, I've been, having different interviews. And finally this week, I received an offer for an investment bank to work in the trading desk for fixed income. So I'm really happy. Yep. So it's been a really big goal of mine, and I'm just excited going through the background check, and I start a week and a half from now. So I just wanted to thank you, Noble, because honestly, this first call really has been life-changing. It's really changed my mindset. And so thanks.
Yo, Luz, no problem, my girl. Yo, congratulations. Yo, everybody drop a congrats or fire emoji inside the chat for our girl Luz. Because, and then also, didn't you have like an injury as well that you were overcoming during this time period as well?
Yes, I'm still overcoming it. I'm still doing physical therapy.
Let's go.
But I'm back in the gym. Actually, it's funny you ask because this week was the first time that I've actually started to lift and work my upper body. I'm only at like 3 pounds. I can only do that, but
okay.
We're getting there.
Let's go. Let's go, Luz. Hey, I am so excited for you, my girl. I appreciate you for tapping in. You've been one of the OGs in the sense of being here from one of the very first sessions. And I'm so thankful that I've been able to help you, but you've been able to help me as well, because I'm seeing you out there every single day getting after it, my girl. I see your tweets. I see the inspiration that you're putting. And for you to say that you applied the things that we're talking about, that makes my heart warm, because it allows me to understand and know that the things that I'm trying to do, the things that the other community members that we're coming together to try to do, is actually coming to fruition. And I'm super excited for this role that you're having as an investment banker. And keep getting after it, my girl. Keep investing and keep pushing yourself. All right, I love it.
Thank you.
No problem, Luz. That's a fire win, man. The people in the chat going crazy for you. The people in the chat going crazy for you. That's what we need right there. Like, that gets me fired up, right? Because there's no better feeling, guys, when you put something in your mind and you're saying, like, I need this, I want this, I can accomplish this, and you actually get it. And you actually get it. Especially when it's something that you necessarily, like, she controlled her mindset, she controlled the work ethic, she controlled her knowledge, she controlled that. But she couldn't control if they gave her the offer or not. She couldn't control if they saw her value or not. But you know what she did? She kept pushing, injury and all. Remember, she said she's rehabbing right now. She could have said, no, I'm going to wait till this. She could have thrown in the weight. She could have thrown in the towel. Like she said, started off with 5 pounds, 3 pounds. It doesn't matter where you are. You can continue to get higher. You can continue to keep elevating. So congratulations to you, Luz, man. I'm so excited for you and super excited for the future that's coming for you. And man, those wins just fill me up and pour into my cup. So I'm so grateful and thankful for that. And guys, this is why we do Winning Fridays, because it's just about sharing the victories. There's no win that's too big, no win that's too small. 5 pounds heavier today is better than 5 pounds lighter yesterday. And that's all that matters. And I guarantee you, now that she got that offer, guess what? That's a weight off her shoulder. That's one less thing that she has to worry about. And now it's on to that next chapter. What's the way she can continue to climb higher and to keep getting better? And I'm super excited for that. So for today, guys, I just want to talk real briefly on, we got a few minutes. I've been talking about legacy and wealth creation this entire week, right? And this entire month. And I gave you guys a few things that you guys can implement into your but just basically into your habits, into your mindset, into your principles, in order I got one more win before I dive into what's up, Moyo. Hold on, I'm adding you up real quick, brother. Give me 1 second. We got one more win before we dive into it. Yo, Moyo, the GOAT, the great. What's up, my brother? How are you doing, bro?
Good morning, bro.
How are you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna share a win real quick. I got a couple wins this whole month, right? This whole month has been going great for me. The first win really is my mindset. I noticed that I've become more conscious and not positive. The positive is the word, but I just let things happen now. I'm less resistant now, right? So I'm less resistant. I just bagged in another client, healthcare. Uh, high ticket client too, so I'm really happy about that. I think it's going to be long. Talking to somebody right now too with this campaign, and it was successful, so that's another win for me. And there's something I'm working on right now for financial knowledge, where I will be able to, like, help people close to me who don't know a lot about like a fiduciary, right? So once I'm working on that right now to become a fiduciary, so I could help the loved ones around me. And yes, and I'm being consistent right now. So I'm still doing the 90 days of execution right now. So those are my wins right now, bro. So yeah.
Myself so there wasn't an echo again, but congratulations, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, bro. You stay consistent, adding stuff to your tool belt. Like you said, now you're going to get that fiduciary, right? Now that's going to allow you to be able to charge more, get different types of clients, bro. And I'm going to love to hear the consistency that you've been having in the 90 days of execution. Guys, I want to tell you guys one thing about Moyo, right? When he hit me up one day and he gave me just free value, free game about something that I need to do in my digital marketing business. If you don't know, he's a digital marketer, right? And he was like, bro, like, you should do this because it's confusing X, Y, and Z. And right now, actually, we have a meeting later on this evening where he's going to help me implement some things into my business so this way I can continue to get to the next level. And that's the power of community. That's the power of knowledge. That's the power of bond and brotherhood and friendship. Because Moyo is somebody, man, like when we first got started, he was just like, I've done that, and now I'm trying to get to here. And I've been seeing the things that you've been doing, bro, and I'm super excited for you, bro, and just continue to stay consistent, family, and we're going to continue to get to that next level, bro. So congratulations on the new clients, man, on the new skill sets developed, and let's make some more money this year, bro. Let's keep going. Let's get it. I'll talk to you later this evening. Man, that boy Moyo going crazy. That man Moyo going crazy. Talk about another high ticket client. That's a good feeler right there. That's a good feel right there. Oh, I love it this morning. I love it this morning. We have got some wins in the building. Again, if you do have a win to share, feel free to press that link above. Something like the stream has been tweaking a little bit. I apologize about that, but not a problem. We still got the people in here. So there's that link right there. So if we got any more wins to share, feel free to come up and share a win, guys. It's all about, the wins. It's all about the wins. I don't even got to teach. It's all about the wins, really, because that's what really gets us, that's what gets us moving. So this month, I was saying that we were starting wealth creation, wealth tactics, wealth habits, wealth principles, right? I was talking about why it's important to create wealth, what creating wealth is all about. What are some of the things that we can do in order to change our mindsets, in order to change our habits, in order to start aligning ourselves with the wealth and the goals that we really want to see for ourselves. I was talking about how we need to spend more time investing in ourselves and not necessarily investing in markets, right? We have to understand our risk threshold, our risk tolerance, so this way we understand which marketplaces are the best ones for us or which ones are just not right for us. We need to focus on building multiple streams of income by not trading time for money, but also increasing our skill sets, like Moyo just said, in the sense of he's adding more things to his tool belt, so now he can be able to charge more. He can be able to offer more. He can be able to now give more, right? That's the point of building additional skill sets, because that's how you build additional streams of income. When you improve, I guarantee your income is going to improve, because there's more people that you can resonate with, and there's more people that you can help, because there's more things and you have more width, you have more depth. You understand? So, and we also talked about how it's important that Uncle Sam is taking their money. So you got to take your money. You got to pay yourself. You got to diversify. You got to lean into yourself and having this wealth-oriented mindset. These are all the things that I talked about on Monday and Wednesday. The recordings are on Twitter on Twitter Spaces. So if you want to listen back to those, listen to those, right? I go into all these a little bit more in more depth. Tracking your net worth. That's another wealth principle. And that's something I started doing last year when I was really just paying attention to money that was coming in, money that was going out, my assets, my liabilities. What am I really worth? Because if you're seeing over time, this is not something you have to do every week. This is not something you have to do every day. But if you do it once a quarter, bi-monthly, bi-annually, like whatever. If you see that today I'm worth $100,000 and in 6 months you're worth $110,000 or maybe $105,000, guess what? That's improvement. right? But then you need to ask yourself, is $5,000 of net worth every 6 months going to get you to your goal? And if not, then you got to figure out ways to fix that. You got to figure out ways to elevate that. And the easiest way to elevate your income, the easiest way to elevate your skill set, the easiest way to make more money and be more and be better is by remember to always be learning. Understand that the smartest individuals in this world, the richest people in this world, the wealthiest people, they're students of the game. Business is an always changing landscape. It's never the same. The environment that our grandparents are in is completely different now. The environment my parents are in are completely different now. Why do you think so many older people throw in the towel and say, I can't keep up with y'all young kids? Because they don't know some of the things that we know. They don't have that. They didn't have the access to the information that we have. But guess what? Our excuse is gone because we've got the internet. We've got the connectivity. We've got the ability. We've got the books. We have the ability to connect these dots. And if we're not doing it, then guess what? We're fighting for our limitations. And if you fight for your limitations, I guarantee you one thing, you get to keep them. And then we have to learn how to invest like billionaires, like multi-millionaires. And when we do that, invest wisely, stop wasting money, and we apply ourselves and we work hard, and we understand that this marketplace is something that we have to be in for a long time. It's a marathon. I'm here to let you understand that. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So it's not about timing the market. It's not about finding the hottest thing. It's not about finding the latest trend. It's about time in the markets. It's about how long are you willing to be consistent? How long are you willing to keep pushing yourself? How long are you willing to stay dedicated? And if that's what you're really willing to do, I guarantee you the income that you want to create is going to be there for you. But I titled this space today, I titled this section today, Getting the Bag, or growing the bag, but protecting the bag. Because there was one thing about creating wealth and creating legacy and creating income that's a beautiful thing. But if you don't protect that, then it's useless. If you don't secure that, then guess what? It's irrelevant, right? They say there's a common saying in business, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you can keep, because that's very important. And that's why I tell you guys all the time, when there's a big difference between gross profit and net profit. When you read the income statement of a financially traded company, that top line is just profit. That's just how much they made. Cool, a company might have made $1 billion in sales, but if they had $1.5 billion in expenses, guess what? They're minus 500K to the whole. So it's not always about how much money you make, but it's also how much money you can keep. So that's what today I want to talk on a little bit before we dive into the psychology of money next week. We're going to be reading chapters 1 and 2 for Monday, is how can you protect the bag? How can you actually secure the legacy that you're working so hard for? And this is just really important to understand, because it doesn't matter if you're worth $5,000 or $5 million. Everyone needs a plan for their money, especially when they die. But no one likes death. I understand it. I understand it's a touchy subject for some individuals, but guess what? There's something that you need to know. And there's one thing that I guarantee you, like the old Benjamin Franklin quote says, there's only 2 things that are guaranteed in life. That's death and that's taxes, right? We talked about taxes a little bit already, but then we understand that death is inevitable for each and every one of us. And because we don't know when that time is coming, it's important that we start creating and we start protecting the legacy now before we get there. There's so many people that's like, well, I don't have anything, so I don't need to do certain things. No. If you own a home, that needs to be protected. If you have money inside the bank, that needs to be protected. If you have children, you need to have certain wills and testaments in order, so this way that they are working so hard for. Because I guarantee you, if you don't protect it, there's somebody who's going to get it. And I promise you, it might not always be your kin. It might not always be your bloodline. So it's important that we understand, what are we protecting the money from? We're protecting the money from probate. That's what we're protecting money from. And if you don't know what probate is when courts administer your estate after you die. So every estate goes through a probate, even if you have a will. And there are 3 reasons why you want to avoid probate. Because 1, public record. The probate process is public record. That means anyone can find your records online at any time. Okay? They can see your property, they can see your finances, they can see your family info. So if privacy is important to you, then it's most likely that you're going to want to avoid some probate, right? Second thing is time delay. Probate is court supervised. And if you know anything about going to court, I went to court the other day for a traffic ticket. The first court date was in November. They moved the court date without me knowing, and then they rescheduled it to sometime in January. And then when I went to court, they were trying to tell me they rescheduled it again. I said, bro, I drove for 3 hours away. Y'all can't just keep rescheduling stuff and not telling people until the night before, because I wasn't going. But guess what? Because probate is court supervised, understand that every aspect of the process needs to be approved by the court. And the courts drag their feet. It takes forever to get things to take place. So this can mean that the simplest of estate administrations can take months to years in order to kind of get this process completed. And I'll tell you, and we'll talk about a little bit how you can shorten this time frame, right? So the first thing that I said, why you want to be able to protect, from the probate. 3 reasons why you want to avoid probate. 1, public record. 2, the time delay. And 3, the attorney fees, okay? Probating an estate without an attorney is not easy, especially if you don't have a law background or a legal background. And one thing that I do know is that attorneys are not cheap. And this is the thing. You can't pay with your assets until your estate is probated. So don't think because you have all this money that you will be like, okay, well, the attorney fees will be covered by this and that or another, right? So your heirs will have to fit the bill. They're gonna have to pay before they get that money. They're gonna have to pay from out of their pocket before that they get that money. So because of that, these are some of the reasons why we're trying to avoid probate. So you're asking, Noble, how do we avoid probate? Well, the first thing is a legal trust. A trust is a legal agreement that gives you 100% control of your assets, even if you're dead, all right? And you don't need to be rich to use one. So many people think that you gotta have a whole lot of money, you gotta have a whole lot of wealth before you start building a trust. No. If you have a wife, if you have a child, if you have a family, if you're not a solo dolo person in this world, you should be starting to formulate a trust, because the trust is going to be the thing that is going to allow you to now give these assets to your family, to your children. 99% of people can benefit from a trust. And there are 3 major players in a trust. You've got a truster, you've got the trustee, and you've got the beneficiary, okay? So the truster owns the assets. The trustee is given permission by the truster to manage the assets. And the beneficiary is the person who benefits from the trustee's actions, right? So here is why everyone should have a trust. I know I'm going a little quickly here. The recording will be on YouTube. You can replay it back, but I just want to make sure I get this all in, right? 1 is because privacy. Let's go back to privacy. This is why everyone should have a trust. 1, privacy. Unlike the probate process, trusts are private records. Probate, public, trusts, private. So no one needs to know what's in them. No one needs to know what the trusts are for, right? No one needs to know when they transfer. This is valuable for you to be able to protect yourself. The second reason is tax efficiency. I told y'all last week on Wednesday, Uncle Sam going to get theirs, so you got to make sure you get yours. Trusts are invisible to the IRS. They aren't reportable. They don't report gains. They don't report losses. They don't report gift taxes. They don't report income taxes. So on trusts, on assets sold in a trust, none of that stuff is reportable. But there are taxes associated with income and revenue made from assets in the trust, just, to clarify that, right? So, and the third thing is distribution control. You don't have to distribute your assets outright with a trust. You can customize it. So if you want to transfer assets to your child, you can determine when that would be. When they're 18, when they're 25, when they're 30. If you watched Power, you remember when Ghost died and he told Tariq that he had to finish college with like a 3.5 GPA before he would get access to the trust and the money? You can put certain parameters in place. And, there's some parents out there, if you want your children to go on a certain direction, on a certain path, and I was having a conversation with my mother the other day, and she was like, some parents, like their job should not have to be to work their entire life just to give it away to their children just for them to squander it. This is how you protect that. Because if you don't want your child just to squander it, make sure you have some certain qualifications in place so before they have access to it, they'll be able to do these things, and that's going to help them develop into the person that you might want them to be. You know, I'm not telling you to control your children and control certain things, but I'm just saying, if you don't think your child is going to be responsible at 18 years old with $1 million, then don't give them that. Make sure that they, you know, maybe do 100,000 at 18, then maybe another payment at 21, then another payment at 25. Like, you can set these custom things in place so now they are protected, and then it's also helping protect your legacy and some of the hard-earned worth that you worked for. And speaking about protection, that's the fourth reason why trusts are really beneficial, because it's asset protection. When your estate is probated, all debtors, creditors, they got to be notified, right? So they can make claims. So when your assets are in a trust, they don't need to be notified. You see that difference right there? So this shields your assets from being used to pay debts. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So when your estate is probated, remember, that's public record. So all debtors, if you owe things or if the bank is trying to come collect on something, all creditors, they must be notified so they can get theirs first. Remember, the government's always going to get theirs. Is the government going to get theirs? The IRS going to get theirs? They're going to make sure all the other liabilities you owe is going to get got as well. And then from there, that's what's left for your children. And that's like, what? Come on now. But when it's in a trust, they don't need to be notified. So it shields your assets from being used to pay taxes, or not taxes, excuse me, to pay debts. And then that's the fifth thing, is to avoid probate, which we talked about a little bit already. So your estate is probated when you own the assets. A trust avoids probate because it owns the assets, but you stay in control. You see that difference there? You no longer own the assets, but you're still in control, right? And that saves your family time, it saves them money, and it saves them stress. So since you don't want to have to go through all the hoops and the hurdles and the attorneys and the courts and paying out of pocket and the fees and everything like that, get a trust in place, because that is how you protect the legacy. That is how you protect the bag. And you know what this also does? It's also going to make sure it protects your family and in the long run. Why? You know how many families fall out over trusts and over like probate when somebody dies? Because nobody was clear. My mama told me the house was mine, but it wasn't in writing. Well, it was willed to me, but it wasn't in writing. Nobody knows what's going on. It becomes he said, she said, and then before you know it, it becomes just a whole tug of war. I've seen families literally torn apart over assets. And if you want to keep that family bond, if you want to keep that camaraderie in place as much as you can, even post your death, then guess what? Get a trust in place, because it helps them keep everything together. It gives a clear direction. It gives you still control even after you pass away. So this way now you have certain things in place. I hope this is making sense for some people in here, right? Oh, see, Janice said, I'm in the probate process now. It's a process. Right? Or Lenise, it's a process. And that's like, we don't want, like, that's a process. And that why the process is now. The process is now. Let the process be the work that you're going through. Let the process be the grind. Let the process be you're building the assets. You're building the estate. Let that be the process. Don't let the process roll after death as well into, you know, the probate process or into the fees and the courts and the arguments. Like, that's unnecessary, okay? So that was the first thing I kind of wanted to share with you all today about how to protect the bag. That's the first thing, is the trust, okay? Now, let me give you a few more different things that you could do as well. Asset ownership, right? Retitling your assets can help protect them from being seized in the event you become subject to a legal dispute, right? So while it might not be possible or to retitle all of your assets, right? You might not want to do every little thing, but certain property, such as a home or rental property, maybe you own, some type of collectible that's super valuable, that can be protected, but by removing your name from the public record. I spoke on that a little briefly earlier. So if you're married, right, here's one strategy that you can use. I was reading about this on Forbes. One strategy you can utilize in certain states is by titling your assets as tenants by the entirety with a spouse. So under this type of ownership, the surviving spouse immediately becomes the sole owner of the asset when the other spouse passes away. right? And this is really important for my women because women live a lot long, not I won't say a lot longer, but the life expectancy for women are longer than men, but typically the man is the breadwinner. So that's where sometimes this is where that disparity comes in. And there's a lot of individuals who are older who get in panic situations because their husband, who was the main person who had the income or who had the money, guess what? He dies, and they worry because certain things are not in place. So this is something that you can do, retitling the asset or retitling the asset to your spouse, right? So this way now it becomes theirs. And moreover, assets owned by tenants by the entirety are typically exempt from creditors if a judgment is made against one spouse for his or her side to avoid debts or for debts or liabilities. So let's just say there's a one-off chance your husband is doing stuff and he's making money, but you might not know all the ins and outs of how he's making money. I get this all the time, right? I do sales calls every day, and there are people out here who are making money, but they don't even know all the ins and outs of how their spouse is making the money that they're making. I'm not saying people are doing things illegal, but I am saying that they might take on debt without telling you. They might take on liabilities without you knowing. This is a way that debt does not get transferred to you. Because now that you own this asset, it doesn't have to come over to you. And in certain cases, assets owned in qualified retirement plans and IRAs in some states can also be protected as well. So that's the first thing, okay? The second one is insurance, life insurance. Super important, especially if you have a family, especially if you have people, who are depending on your income. Life insurance can help minimize estate, gift, and income taxes when your assets are transferred to your heirs while providing a lump sum of cash to your beneficiaries when you die. Right? And then there was a tax strategy that I was literally listening about earlier this morning. It's called buy, borrow, die. And this is a strategy. I'm not telling you to necessarily use it, but it makes sense, right? This is a strategy. You buy assets when you're alive. You buy them, you stack up your assets. You keep the debt on the assets that you own while you're accumulating them low, okay? Then you borrow from those assets. So let's just say you buy a real estate portfolio, right? You use the tenants to pay off the property. So now you've got the equity low. I mean, the equity's high, debt's low on this real estate portfolio. Then you borrow from the equity of the real estate, okay? And then you use that money that you're borrowing from the equity of the real estate to buy life insurance policies, okay? And then you use when you die, the life insurance policy money will be used to pay off the debt. And then from there, you can live off of the debt, therefore, and then also protect your children. So this way, when you die, all that money can be used to pay back off the assets. You see how that works right there? Don't let that go over your head real quick. Let me drop that one more time for you. Buy, borrow, die. You buy the assets, you keep the debt low, right? So then when you have assets like, let's say for example, real estate, and you want to retire early, and you don't want to, but you're using that rental income to keep paying off the loans. So it's like, all right, what am I, or the mortgage, I should say. So you're gonna be like, what am I gonna live off of, right? What's gonna be my day-to-day income, right? That's where you borrow from the assets that have been paid off, that have the low debt. You use some of that money to live off of. Then you use the other bit of the money to buy life insurance policies. So this way, when you die, you now allow them to your children, your beneficiaries, to get that lump sum, and then they use that to pay back off the debt that you used on the assets. So they still own the assets. They don't have to have the debt, and you didn't have to worry about the liabilities and moving forward. You see how that works? Like, it's a game, guys. It's a game. We are playing a game. And if you are not trying to study this stuff, if you're not trying to get it down, if you're not consulting with the people who know how to do these things, man, I am telling you, there's always another play. There's always another way, right? You guys, Moyo Life Insurance, you guys getting some from this? All right. I see you guys in the comments. I love it, right? And I'm just trying to help you guys protect the bag here. All right, that's all I'm trying to do. It makes no sense making all this money and then the state, like a place like New York, every state's a little bit different. But when you pass away in New York, that's going straight to the state. And then you have to fight for your stuff. How that make sense? Make that make sense, right? So this is why we do some of these things, so this way we are protected. Okay, you have some other things such as limited liability entities, and this is creating a limited liability entity, also typically known as what? An LLC, right? And that's an effective way to separate your personal assets from those of your business or other revenue streams. So one thing, let's say a rental property. So one thing that I always recommend to people who are getting inside of real estate, and I didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. Please do your own research. All right, there's your disclaimer. Let me keep moving, right? Is when you're buying real estate properties or when you have assets, you want to put each one of those underneath their own LLC. Why? Because let's just say, for an example, it's snowing in New York. Somebody slips and falls. They break something on their leg or arm or whatever on your property, and they try to sue you for whatever reason they want to sue you. Lawyers, understand that lawyers are going to go for the most. They're going to try to take everything that you got. Right? They're trying to that they can get their client typically the more that they can get paid, right? But if you have everything in limited liability entities separated from your personal and your business and your real estate, and you have everything in separate entities, they can only go after the one thing that was attributing to the cause or to the harm. Right? So if they got hurt on that one rental property, they can't go for the entire portfolio. They can only go after the equity of that one rental property. This is how you protect yourself, right? And now you're in the position to where you can continue to grow businesses. You can continue to have things grow. But let's just say, for an example, something fails. You hear Donald Trump filed bankruptcy 11 times. You hear something like 50 Cent. He's filed bankruptcy 7 times. Like, there are a lot of successful individuals who have filed bankruptcy several times. How are they able to file bankruptcy and keep moving forward? It's because that entity was in a separate limited liability entity. It was separated from their personal. So therefore, they file bankruptcy on that one, let it fall off, do what it do, and they keep moving on to the next ones and start building the ones that are actually working. Or their personal, how many people do you know have a bankruptcy on their personal credit? And you know it takes up to 7 years minimum to get a bankruptcy off of your personal credit? Do you know how hard it is to get lending, to get a mortgage, to get a car note at a decent APR rate because you have a bankruptcy on your personal credit? So how do you protect that? Is because now you have a separate legal or a limited liability entity such as an LLC, and then you put that real estate, you put that business over there. That real estate doesn't work out for you, maybe foreclosed, or maybe that business doesn't work out for you, you got filed bankruptcy, whatever. Guess what? It's as long as it's in your business name, as long as it's under that limited liability entity, it's not going to affect you personally. So now you can still grow your personal and still leverage your personal to get you back on your feet again, to start the process again. You heard Dan Pena. He's failed thousands of times. Failing is a part of the game because failing means that you're trying. And if you're scared to fail, then I guarantee you're going to be scared to try to make more wealth. You're going to be scared to make more income. But there's ways that you can protect yourself. There's ways that you can set yourself up to be able to continue to still fight and to keep going. And that's the problem with most of us, right? It's not that we don't have the mindset. It's not that we don't have the ability. It's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that we are too scared to fail because we're like, what happens if everything that I've worked for, what happens if it goes away? There's so many people who are scared to leave their job because they're like, what happens if all this time that I put in over here and I'm not able to get something different? Make the best decision that works for you. But if you have been putting in the work, if you've been acquiring the assets, if you've been working hard, make sure it's protected. And if it's protected, there's certain parameters that you can put in place, such as trusts, such as asset ownership, such as life insurance, such as limited liability entities, such as asset protected trusts, such as irrevocable trusts. These are all things that you can put into place so now it protects that hard work that you put in. And like I said, you can put certain parameters in place that if you don't want certain people to benefit from your hard work because they don't deserve it, because they are entitled to it, guess what? You can put certain things in place to make sure that they don't get it. And so also that it doesn't become a fight, or that they have to reach certain qualifications before they're able to attain that, right? So we're going to grow the bag. We're going to make the bag. That's one thing I know. Lou's about to make more money than she ever made before as an investment banker. I know it for sure, right? But now let's protect that. Moyo is about to make more money than he ever did before, getting this high ticket client. But guess what? Let's protect that, right? You're going to make more money in 2023 than you have in previous years. I'm here to manifest that. I'm here to proclaim that. And I'm here to let you know that. But as you're making more, as you're working harder, protect it as well. Get a will and testament in place. Get a trust in place, okay? Get your estate in order, please. Protect the legacy, because it doesn't make any sense to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, to have millions of dollars worth of equity in real estate. It doesn't make sense to have some of these things just for it to be a cat and claw fight after you died. Because it was like, why was it worth it? And especially if you can't benefit and live off of it and enjoy it while you're here as well. So those are some of the things, guys, I just want to share with you guys this morning. And I'm super appreciative that we had a powerful session this morning on First Call. We had some great wins. We had some different people tapping in. And like I mentioned, we're going to be starting The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel on Monday. So if your book hasn't come in yet, not a problem, right? But we're going to start probably the first 2 chapters. It's not that long of a book. It's like literally 200 pages, size 100 font, right? So we will be able to move pretty quickly through this book. So we're going to start chapters 1 and 2 on Monday. So we're going to have that completed. Felicia's on chapter 12, so she probably have the book done, but that's okay because she gonna help teach this. I just put her on the spot. So we're gonna now be able to understand how money works, the mindset that comes with creating money and creating wealth. Understand, guys, it's just a game. That's all it is. It's just a game. Capitalism is just a game. The money isn't yours, like Grant Cardone always likes to say. It's not ours. It's somebody else's. We're just getting it and we're just repurposing it and reusing it for something else. That's all it is. So let's figure out ways that we can get to the destination that we want to reach, that we can create the income in the life that we want to have. So this way we can do the things that we really want to do. If we pay the price now, we'll be able to pay any price later. If you work for it now, protect it for later. I appreciate you guys for tapping in every single morning. I appreciate you guys. I see you in the chat, Lenice. I see you, Lenice, right? I appreciate you, Big Beard. I appreciate you, Moyo, Luz, everybody else, Felicia, Benny, everybody else who's been supporting First Call. And we've got some excited things moving forward for this group, for this community, as we continue to build, as we continue to develop, as we continue to figure out ways to get to that next level, and as we continue to dictate our fate. Let's get to it today. Let's make some money, and let's be better. And let's go. Later.